Hi folks, Robin here at Toadstool Tarot. I just got this deck today. It's the Tarot Nuages by Needman. I guess it's been out maybe a year or so. It says 2021. It's by US Games. It's in a really nice thumb index box, lift off top, which I always prefer to a tuck box. And it's a nice sturdy knocker of a box. Inside it's just black. Has a little guidebook inside that's kind of perfect bound, I think they call it. And it is, I don't know, 61, 62 pages, something like that. 63 pages. Talks about the sort of fictional land in the clouds, which I think nuage is French for clouds, I believe. The cardstock is nice. I think it might be a little bit stiffer than the usual US Games, but I haven't got any US Games decks in a while. Anyway, it's a little bit shinier on the back, or a little slicker on the back than on the front. And the back's a pretty design. I'd seen a couple other walkthroughs of this, and I wondered if it has the copyright anywhere on it, because I don't like copyrights on my cards. And I couldn't tell from the videos. It looks like it's not there. And I think US Games has stopped putting copyrights on the front of the card. They usually bury it somewhere in the image on the back, and they did that here. But I don't even know if the camera is going to pick it up. If you look really close, where is it? There it is. See, on the edge of that diamond there? And then also down here. So it's pretty easy to not notice. Actually, in the low lighting I have in here, I can't see it at all. But in brighter light, you can see it. It's just, they did a pretty good job of hiding it. It's not obtrusive or bothersome. And I love the coloration of this deck. It has an almost autumny feel. It's mostly black lines with kind of oranges. There are some other colors in it, but it's basically black and orange, kind of an autumn palette. And the black lines are kind of like, almost like tattoo scratches, you know, lines that sort of have bled out a little bit. So I'll show you some of the cards here, and these won't show that well with my camera, but you can see there's a lot of fine detail, kind of like etchings or something. And it's sort of a sci-fi fantasy kind of thing. I saw it and I thought, oh, I really like the stylization of it. And actually, it has 4 suits, and one of the suits has little mushroom or toadstool people. I thought, oh, I gotta have that. So I bought it. Mostly when I saw it, I thought, okay, this is intriguing because I like stylized decks. But I can't yet tell whether it's a deck that I will use or be drawn to. But I had a feeling, even though it's US Games, you never know how long something will stay in print. It looked to me like one of those decks that years from now, when it goes out of print, people are going to be clamoring to get hold of this deck. So I thought, I might as well just buy it now. Whether I get much use out of it or not, I'm going to be one of those people experiencing FOMO later if I don't get it. And so I got it. It was, I think, about 23 something on Amazon. And it's got some really intriguing images on it. It kind of reminds me of a few different decks, the sort of like eerie quality of some of the figures, very angular, and all the detail. Reminds me a little bit of, I think it's called The Book of Azathoth, which is based on H.P. Lovecraft stories or illustrations, not illustrations. The illustrations are based on Lovecraft's sort of imagery in his creepy stories. And it also reminds me a little bit of maybe Patrick Valenza, a little bit of, is it Tarot of the She? A little bit of Samira May. So there's a handful of different illustrators and designers that the artwork kind of reminds me of. Sort of a conglomerate of all those things. Never saw a sun with a goatee before. That's kind of intriguing. And the major arcana has numbers and titles above and below. Then we go into the minors, and the minors only have a title at the bottom. Now, I think I might have preferred titles only on the bottom with the title and the Roman numeral, and then not have titles on the top, because I think it looks nicer borderless like that, like this. And it is a sort of a pip deck, but you do have illustrations going on in there to supplement the arrangements of the pip elements. And it was meant to be a sort of a conglomeration of Smith-Waite and Marseille. And I like that the backgrounds have this kind of almost aged ivory parchment paper coloring to them. So I've been drawn lately to decks that are colorful but muted color. And this is kind of like watercolor. Actually, you know what else it reminds me of? If anybody has any scrimshaw jewelry, that's it was originally, I think, ivory or something, or whalebone. And it's basically bone that has been sort of etched into or carved into and then filled in the scratching with like a black ink, and then some of the areas may have been added a sort of a color stain that's transparent but gives it a delicate color wash. So yeah, I like colorful decks, but I really like the muted, softer colors. They feel warmer and more approachable to me. Now, I skipped way past some stuff here. I should have pointed out that the wands has these sort of spiky wands and little sort of devilish imps on the cards. The chalices have like penguins or blackish birds. They are penguins, and fairy figures. And then the other suits, we'll see in a second. I haven't really worked with this yet to see how it reads. I think I won't have any trouble with it. I forgot to mention, I'm a little bit late. if you prefer, just turn off my commentary and watch the flip through and pause at any time. I should say that at the beginning of my videos, but I guess you know to do that on your own if you like. And a better camera would make this sharper, but this is what we've got right now. So this will give you an idea. Maybe after this you want to go to check this walkthrough on another channel that uses higher definition. I always like to have people see a full walkthrough before they make a purchase rather than taking a gamble. So here now we're in the swords, and the swords have sort of a gargoyle kind of figures in them. And there's a great deal of mythology in the guidebook about these figures. Like all the major figures have sort of demigod names attached to them, but I don't care about that stuff. I just like interesting looking artwork in a deck that I can read with the suits or the actions going on there. But yeah, if you're really into like storytelling and mythology and all that, I guess you might really enjoy the guidebook. This is a really interesting Nine of Swords. You have this red hand and green hand sort of interlocked, and you can see the fingers are sort of bent and the fingernails are all these swords. I thought that was an intriguing imagery. I also like, I love spiral art, and there's a lot of spirals on these cards. Sort of a motif that goes through. I'm appreciative that they didn't change, even though it's got mythology, they didn't change the names. You know, we still have pages, knights, queens, and kings. Something that we're used to. And let's see, and then here we have the coins, beautiful coins. And as we usually have in the Marseille deck, for the Two of Coins, we have the name of the artist or designer and the name of the publisher. And this suit features sort of bumblebee or honeybee figures and mushroom people or toadstool people. So this is a fun suit, I think. I'd actually love a whole deck just of little mushroom toadstool people. And I love the fuzziness of these little bees. They look kind of like little winged dogs, or hairy little winged dogs or something. Look at how cute. So this flip through is a little bit rushed, but it's because I want to start shuffling and playing with these cards and see how they work for me. Oh, this also reminds me a little bit of the Aquarian Tarot in the Knights, because you've got that sort of close-up and sort of stylization and this sort of pale, warm colors. And we have an additional card, which is called the Town, which I'm probably not going to use because it's not part of the traditional tarot deck. And this basically, I think, depicts, it says the town, but it looks like 4 different towns and clouds. And I don't know if they're meant to represent the 4 races or groupings of people in the different suits, or I'm not sure what the story is behind this. I didn't read it in the book yet. But anyway, there you have it. It's nice. Average size deck. It's not, not too thick or too thin. I really like the design of the back. And so, yeah, an interesting deck, I think. The Tarot Nuages. Nice box again, and I guess that's all I have to show and tell about today. Just a little description and a couple thumbnails on the back. So there you go, and not to push this on anybody, but I do have a premonition that this one, when it goes out of print, people will be vying for it, and it will be going for lots of money because it's a really intriguing deck. It's very different than a lot of things that are coming out in this particular time period. So there you go. See you all again soon. Bye.